Okay, alright. Welcome everybody to the introductory video to the 2v2 tournament that is going on here on the Empire at War Community Discord. If you're watching this video, you're probably either a participant or interested in watching this. And today we will go over all the details that you need to know to actually either play or be able to actually follow all the stuff that's going on. I'm here with...
Darcy 6.
And you get all of this information right now. We will start by going over the format of the tournament real quick. How does the group stage and the brackets and the playoffs, how does all of that function? We will make a short detour towards matchmaking. How can you, if you play in the tournament, find and organize your matches? How do you get a streamer involved? Because we all want to watch those juicy games. Next up we will be going over drafting in detail, because that's a topic that's always something that confuses a lot of especially newer players. And then of course there are some in-game rules that need to be adhered by all the players and all the participating teams. And finally let's have a look at the bracket for the group stages, because that's out since yesterday. Alright, why don't you take off with the format?
Very nice.
So.
Very nice. So, yes, we're very excited to launch the 2v2 championships here. Of course, just to clarify, it is space. We are doing 2v2 in space. So in terms of the format here, so starting off with the group stages, and we have 4 groups, and inside those 4 groups are 4 teams. So we have then moving on to a double elimination playoffs, both a minor and a major playoff system. So how that works is that the 2 top teams from each group stage will progress to the major playoffs, and the 2 lower teams of the group stages each group will move over to the minor playoffs, and then they will start off for double elimination as well. So we wanted to do this because we wanted to make sure everybody had their fair shot at winning the prize pool. We do have the money that is going to be separated between both playoff pools, so that way in case we have some competitive players and we tend to, I guess, deter people from playing because of our level in this case. Opposed to the minor playoffs, everybody who are still learning the game and they want to get better and they're trying to get to that high tier competitive level, but maybe just aren't there yet. And we have another bracket specifically designed for you, so that way you can go through and win some money too.
Right. Something that is not depicted in this image here is that it's really a double elimination playoff, both for the minor and for the major. So what that basically means is just that you aren't out of the playoffs if you lose one match, but everyone gets a second chance. There's a lower bracket where you can bounce back and still reach the finals if you lose once. Alright, now with that out of the way, let's talk about the timing of all of this.
Very nice. So group stages, we started yesterday, February 22nd. They will be going until March 23rd, which is a Monday. After that, one thing to note, we do happen to finish all of the group stage matches prior to March 23rd. We will definitely push ahead the start date for the playoffs. We want to make sure that we have as much time as possible for everybody to play. However, should everyone get everything done, we can then transfer that time into the playoff portion. After March 23rd, yes, we go right to the minor double elimination playoff. It's after the group stages. It's about a 5-week duration for that in this case. Also, as well, the major playoffs we are going to then do after the minor playoffs. This may come with changes later on. We may decide to do or start that earlier than what it is, but we'll make that call as we progress down that timeline. But we are intending to start after the minor playoffs. So the minor playoffs after starting the group stages. So we're going to start which date in this case? We have a selected date yet?
For the minors we don't, but probably 1 week after the group stages end.
So then probably start March 30th in this case. That would probably be the latest time that we would start.
Right.
A full week, and then we got everything good to go from there. Then after that, another 5 weeks. So you could expect maybe the major playoffs to start. It would be beginning of May, maybe end of April if we push it up a little bit. But just to give a little timeline of how we have everything separated out. And again, of course, we have people from playing all different time zones, all different areas. We want to make sure, of course, a lot of us are older now. People have jobs. Other people have to go to school and such. So everyone's busy. We want to make sure we give everybody enough time to set up their matches and they can play their games.
Right. So everyone should have the time to set their matches. We get to matchmaking in a bit. But first, maybe more interesting for some of us. The prize pool. How is the prize pool working? Basically, we have a base prize pool that we just put out there of $350, and additionally, we will do some crowdfunding, and everything that we make by the Twitch subscriptions of the EAWFOC Twitch channel, you will find a link to this below this video. That will get added directly onto the prize pool. So by the time the minor/major playoffs start, that prize pool might already be a bit higher than the 350 you see here. And then of course we have to split the prize pool between the majors and minors, and the exact split will be announced later on when it's clearer how to what amount the prize pool will total. But expect something like a 70-30 split. Of course the major will get a bit more of the prize pool than the minor playoffs.
So yes, and again, all Twitch subscriptions, all that money, 100% goes right into the pool. So it's not like we're there to use it or keep it or any of it. We're using it to push and fund solely into the tournament in this case,
Right.
and also future tournaments.
That's right. Speaking of tournaments, this tournament is played on the Tournament Edition mod, which you can find in the Steam Workshop, and you can just subscribe to it. Just keep in mind that it is for the base game EAW. That has historic reasons, because the base game is better balanced than FOC is in its vanilla state. So a lot of the old pro players just stayed on the base game, and it lends itself better towards creating a tournament. But a Tournament Edition mod with rebalancing is in the works for FOC too, so in the future we will see tournaments on FOC as well.
Yes, and we do not have a projected date to when we intend to complete that. It is something that's a very long work in progress. Most of our energy is going into the EAW version of the Tournament Edition mod. However, we hope to, potentially in this case, we hope to have both mods merged together so that way you can have the same mod. It'll launch both on EAW and FOC. Be good to go from there. From FOC, excuse me. Also, as well, just to let everyone know, from the last tournament, yes, it is the Tournament Edition mod. However, we had changed hosts in this case, so we had to take down from the workshop and re-upload it. So everybody who was subscribed to it during the last tournament, you're going to have to resubscribe to it again. So please visit the workshop. It can be found under Galliana's workshop as well, also creator of Secrets of a Fallen Empire. You can find it there, resubscribe, that way you can get it downloaded again.
That's right. Okay, moving on. Let's go to matchmaking, because if you run that mod, you actually need an opponent.
Yes, you do. So with matchmaking here, we have the 2v2 meeting room. You can use that to organize matches. And then also as well, second here, you can use that to ping the tournament streamer to get a streamer if possible. Streaming is not mandatory during the group stages, but we want to try and get one. We obviously want to broadcast as many streams as possible during that time period. However, when we do move into the playoffs, we will be having mandatory streams for those games.
Yeah, just so that everyone can follow along with the tournament. But for now, because the group stages have many matches of people of different time zones, we of course would like to stream everything, but it's more important that we complete the group stages on time than that every match is streamed. So for that, we made it optional, but please try to get a streamer if you set a match date with your opponents, so that everyone can enjoy a bit of good and competitive EAW. These channels, of course, are on the EW community Discord. We've name dropped it before, so if you are new to the EW competitive scene and want to follow the tournament, something you can always do is just join the community Discord. Again, a link will be below this video, and you can discuss about match results or just hang out with the boys. There's a lot of stuff going on the community Discord.
Very nice. So, moving on in terms for matchmaking. So, after you win your best of 3 games, you need to go to 2v2 results channel and you need to post the draft protocol with the match result. You need to add victory screenshots if the match was not streamed. So, in this case, if it's streamed, you don't have to do any screenshots. I mean, unless you want to use it to, of course, boast over your opponent. We more than encourage some trash talking in this case, keep it civil. However, If you have it streamed, you don't need to post screenshots. But if you don't have your game streamed, you need to post screenshots of you winning the match or your opponent's conceding of the match in this case.
Yeah, this is really important to prevent cases where losing teams might challenge your match results, and if there's no way for the tournament organizers to verify that this is actually the result that happened, then, well, you can imagine it's going to be hard.
Yes, we want to keep the integrity of the tournament intact and not have people try to do scrupulous things, of course.
Right. Okay, now moving on to the drafting, because once you got that match going and are in the lobby, what to do then, right? Especially for the newer players that haven't been playing in prior tournaments. For them and for you, we are now going over the drafting process in depth. Suppose we have a team red and a team blue that are facing each other, hopefully with a streamer, of course. The first thing to note here is that we have a map pool of 9 maps. Naboo, Tatooine, Kuat, Dagobah, Bothawi, Coruscant, Alderaan, Ryloth, and Kashyyyk. And to some of you, 2 of these maps might be a bit surprising. It is Kuat and Ryloth. These are maps that are actually from the bonus disc of the old Gold Edition version of the game. And the Steam version for some reason didn't include these, but we got you covered. If you have installed the Tournament Edition mod and you run it, then you will find these maps in the Custom Maps tab. And if you want to add them to your official maps list for increased security of people actually manipulating these maps, because, you know, custom maps can be altered, we have instructions how to do so on the workshop page for the Tournament Edition mod. Right below the list of maps, you will find detailed instructions on how to do that manually and how to do it via a script that we provided. So you should be able to do that, and if you need help, just ask on the community Discord, right? Okay, so now we have a global map pool of 9 maps. What means global in this case, Saif?
That's actually a very good question. Why don't you explain it to me?
Okay, Saif. Global means that both teams draw from this pool. Once a map has been banned or picked, it is locked from the remainder of the match. So these 9 maps can never be played twice during one match of best of 3. The second important detail is that for the tournament, each team has a seed. You will find these seeds as a little number on the page of the group stages that we will show you a bit later. And these little numbers are determined to check which team has the initiative in a match. And the initiative determines which team may start the drafting process. You will understand in a second. The drafting process as a whole is made up of 3 basic steps, Saif.
So when you first start, you have the initiative check, you get everybody in the game. You generally then start with banning your maps. So the person with the then lower seed would start in the first game by picking a map ban. Then followed by the higher seed, they would follow up with another map ban. So say in this instance, lower seed bans Naboo, and then the higher seed chooses to ban Kashyyyk.
Okay, bear with me. You were right.
Oh, sorry, Coruscant. We chose Coruscant. And then again, it goes back to the lower seed. We have 3 map bans. They can then ban Kuat.
Okay, now you said the lower seed has the initiative, but of course Team Red has seed number 7 and Team Blue has seed number 3. How does that come to be?
So the seeding you can find based off in your group stages. You'll be assigned a random seed in the group stages, not based off of anything in terms of what your status is as an actual competitive player. Again, that is just the group stages. That will be determined when we move into the playoffs portion. However, you have to go with what you are assigned. So again, just for those who may say, wait, I'm better than this team, why are we here? Just randomly assigned.
Yeah, and in the same vein, a higher number is a lower seed because it's like a ranking. Seed number 1 in a seeded environment would be the team that is expected to end the tournament at place 1, at first place. So in this case, the red team with seed number 7 would be the lower seed team and have the initiative. The initiative leads to having 2 map bans, as you can see here. Naboo and Kuat are banned by Team Red, while the higher seed team that is expected to do better only has 1 map ban to balance things a bit out. Third step then is the actual map and faction pick for each game. We play a best of 3, so at most there will be 3 games, and later in the playoffs we will actually change over to play best of 5 matches to even to make the games even bigger and better. Map drafting and faction picking is done before each individual game, so you will only draft the second map after the first game has concluded. And here again the initiative plays a big role, because for the first game, game 1, again the team that has the initiative starts with the map pick, and then the other team can answer with the faction pick. Suppose the first game is over and it comes to the draft for the second game, then the roles switch around. Now the team that has not got the initiative may pick the map and the other team will pick the faction. And you've guessed it, for the third game, roles switch around again. The team that has the initiative can pick the map again. It's not too hard, and you can always use this video to get a reminder on how this is done. And of course, also on the Discord in the tournament information channel, there is the detailed rule set of the tournament, including all of this information.
And as again, make sure you report your draft and results. That little process that we just went beforehand, you're going to post that in 2v2 results. If you have any need to go back and check for information, please go to the channel 2020 Championship Info. You can find all tournament rules and information listed thoroughly detailed in there.
Right. Okay. That's it with drafting. Let's go over in-game rules, because after drafting, the next thing is of course playing the game. There are some, not many rules that you need to adhere to provide a fair experience to all the teams involved.
One thing of note for the Tournament Edition mod, everything is already preset for you, so there's no settings that you actually have to change when you host the game. You just need to go through the map bans and the picks, and then you're good to go.
Right.
So,
game speed is set to normal, so please don't change that. And one thing that is allowed is each team has 1 restart per match. So if you play 3 games, only 1 restart in total is allowed. And that restart must be called in the first 10 seconds. This is basically to prevent games that are decided by mishaps in the first seconds of the game, where it's possible that you misclick and send all of your units to a single location on the map, and from there it's just so hard to recover. So each team for each match has 1 get out of jail card for that circumstance and can just announce the restart at the start of the match.
So one thing we do want to make a point of, if both teams happen to agree, they start the match and there happens to be some input lag where you're selecting a unit and it takes 3 to 4 seconds to respond, and it's just not a very good connection to start with. And if the game's being streamed, people will be able to say that. It will be a little easier to note. But you can restart the game just to try and get a better connection, because obviously we don't want to force somebody to play something through terrible input lag. Now, if this starts happening halfway through the game, not so much. You got to kind of play it out at that point. However, if it transfers later on into synchronization errors, which we'll cover in a moment, that's something different. However, like if the game starts off normally, you're playing through, all of a sudden the input lag kind of comes through. I mean, at that point, restarting, that's kind of not fair, because one team could be winning dramatically, one team could be losing, and that's not fair to reset from that point.
Yeah, we want to avoid that. Something that we actually want to do is, if the match is streamed, Rebel and Empire players should be differentiated by their color. So for the Rebel side, they can pick between red, orange and brown, and the Empire side has to pick from blue, light blue and green. To make it easier for the casters, we have some new casters for this tournament to distinguish things and to not mix up the sides and players on the minimap. Finally, let's get to sync errors, because if you know EAW, you know you will get sync errors. And to resolve these, we basically have a 3-step program for you. The first step is, if a tournament admin is actually streaming or even just spectating, then the tournament admin can decide on the spot whether the match has to be remade or whether the match already was decided based on the current state of that game. Secondly, if both sides do agree to a replay, then the game is repeated with the same map and faction picks. And if that does not apply, so if both sides don't agree to a replay, then the tournament admins have to decide based on evidence, based on maybe a screenshot. So if you experience a sync, please take a screenshot so that we can, well, if it's needed, that we can look at it and decide what to do.
Yes, make sure that the mini-map is very clear because we can make determinations based off of the colors on the map. Also, one of the reasons why we have the specific color outline set that way.
Right, and you can trust us. We have over a decade of competitive experience in this game. The minimap will tell us a lot about whether that match is open or not. Right, I think that covered in-game rules that have to be followed. And something that everyone is, of course, interested for is the bracket for the, for the tournament, for the group stages. Okay, let's have a look at that. Now, the link to the bracket page will be below this video. We host this on Challenge, which is a great site for hosting tournaments. And here we go. Saif, why don't you wanna go over this real quick and focus on quick.
So, just give a little breakdown here of our brackets. Again, we have groups A through D. Starting with Group A, we have the first group of matches here, or teams, excuse me. We have Close Carly and Space Baguette. They are newer players. They've been recently introduced to the competitive gaming stream. We're excited to see what they can do. I know Space Baguette has played a couple times with you, Laney, and you guys have been kind of coaching him along.
Mm-hmm.
Moving on, Team 2, we have Rome King and Carson. We have Rome King, who is a hardened veteran who's been around for basically 14 years at this point. He's been playing the game. He was somebody who surprised actually in the 1v1 tournament. He actually was ranked, I believe it was seed 7 if I recall, and he made it all the way to the loser bracket finals.
That's right, third place for Rome King.
So he was third place. So he did exceptionally well in the 1v1 tournament. We have Carson as well, somebody who's been around for years upon years as well. He's been he works a lot more on the modding side, but we've recently brought him over competitively, and he's been playing in the 1v1 tournament as well. He's learned a lot. It's an exciting team to have together. They can do and make a real deep run in the major playoff brackets, I think.
Mm-hmm. Agreed.
So moving on, we have actually That One Bullet and Thans Vans Incorporated. They are Awakening of the Rebellion mod developers, so we're excited to have them play in the tournament. They've been around for a very long time as well, having made a very popular mod in this case, and their mod is also known to be very difficult, so it's interesting to see how that will translate going back to the base game. We're excited to see what they can do. We think that they also can surprise a lot of teams. Lastly here, we have 321 G-Man, and then we have iClickR, also a newer team as well. We don't know much about them. I know they're new. They're excited to play. They want to get in on the fun, and this is why we encourage new teams to join, so they'll be able to learn very quickly. So, Lenny, why don't you go over Group B here?
All right.
I don't want to be a little, selfish, I guess, since I'm in that group. Little bias there,
All right, first team in that group is Geiger and Captain Patty, both German players that participated in the 1v1 tournament. Both of them did reasonably well, like medium tier 1v1 players. Patty actually impressed many people, coming out of nowhere and playing really well in the 1v1 tournament, so they should make a potent team and can probably push each other even further. Next up we have Bloody Champion and Real Rex. To me these are unwritten books. Seem to be newer players, and I'm excited to see how they do, whether they can pick up some things from past recordings and just by playing along, by going on. Third team of that group, of course, is you, Saif, playing with Will. Bit of a meme team, I think. We have Darth Saif, the old rambling guy, and we have Will, who is one of the, I'd say biggest upcomers in the competitive scene. He's been playing competitively for now maybe a bit over a year and has already reached levels where he can consistently beat really good and experienced veterans in 1v1, and I'll be really intrigued to see how that translates into the 2v2 team games affairs, right? And lastly, we have Paradox and Breadboy. Again, players that are newer to the competitive scene, but I hope to see a lot from them. Both seemed very nice people to me. Group C.
Very nice. So we have here in Group C, actually had a couple games that were played last night. They were streamed on the EAWFOC Twitch account, and we will have them uploaded to YouTube first. Actually, I streamed the first game, and I forgot to do the map bans. Bad on me, tournament host. Joking aside, we have Dan Schneider and we have Dat Boy Ben, 18. So they played last night. Unfortunately, they lost both of their matches. They were very new to the competitive scene. I could see that they were learning a lot. Even between the first game that they played against the Palmer Beef and Star Wars Troop, and then transitioning into the second game, they had actually realized a substantial difference of, well, it's very important to hold on to your mines and have that mine advantage. And they picked up on it really quick, and it transferred over to the next game that they played with Divine and Little Finchy, that they were a lot more aggressive towards the mines. So they are learning pretty quickly. They were also able to rewatch their stream and the commentary and see what they did wrong. So I hope that they pick things up really quick. Moving on, we have Divine and Little Finchy. Divine being the grand finals winner of the 1v1 tournament last time around. Again, pretty much he did a pretty good job in the he did the finals and the grand finals, and then he went 2 in a row with Laney, best of 5, and he won 6 games and lost 1 game. So he did pretty well in that last tournament there. So we have high expectations of that team. Little Finchy, which is he's now a middle of the line player, came along after or towards the end of the GameSpy days and played a little bit, mostly on Game Ranger, and then he came around later on, and now he's here as well. One thing to note too, Little Finchy will be co-commentating on some streams as well, so we look forward to seeing what input he can do. But he's picked up the game very quickly. The next team, we have Last Caress, and we have Shot Manage, I guess. I'm not really sure how to pronounce that. SHTMGN, I'm sorry. Anyways, they're old school players. They played way back in the day. They in a clan called CD. They were known FOC players. They were really good. They're also extraordinary trash talkers as well. So we'll be interested to see what they can do. They have claimed since, back then that they've grown up a bit, so they're not as aggressive as they used to be. But yes, we're excited for their personalities, and we're excited to see where they can go. We do expect them to make it towards the major bracket finals, but who knows? Upsets could be around the corner. That upsets being the Palmer Beef and Star Wars Troop, the last team in the tournament. They won against Dan Schneider and Dat Boy Ben, but then they did proceed to lose against Divine and Little Finchy. However, what we did see from them is that they have a very acute sense that we need to go for the mines, we need to have mind control, and we need to make sure that we keep the map control in our game. So they are picking up really quickly. I think when they rewatch the streams and they start seeing a couple other games playing, things are going to click for them right away. So we're really excited. We're hoping that they're basically going to be the Captain Patty and Will of last tournament, that they're going to come through and they're going to pick up the competitive scene right away. So last but not least here, Lainey, why don't you go over Group D? With the exception of Team 3, I'll cover that one for you.
All right. One more thing to mention.
biases.
One more thing to mention, now that you've already talked about matches that have been played, is that the group stages, of course, as much as they are part of the actual tournament, they are a training grounds. You can play games and you can learn. So if you are new to the competitive scene, take this opportunity, watch other teams, try strategies, try to improve. You basically now have like 4 weeks of time to get into shape for the playoffs, right?
Absolutely. The group stages are the best thing that you can do learning wise, because you get to play and there's so much just firsthand data that you get in, and which is why we want to stream these matches, because we want to make that available to you. We want you to be able to watch these games and go, wow, I never thought that you could do that sort of thing, or pull that maneuver off, or I didn't even know that this was a strategy. Let's try this. There's so many things that you can learn, and you can adapt and just absorb from these games, which is again why we want to push streaming. But if you can, it's all right. But again, this is something that you really should look into because this is a great training grounds, great training period for you to get better at the game.
Right, now Group D starts with the first team of Sexy Wise and Recall. Again, 2 new faces to the competitive scene that have a long way to go, but that can probably make big steps towards that direction. And the same thing with Flipper J and Mr. Raisin Phase. All of these players have seen some activity. I've seen some activity by these on the community Discord, just playing games. So they seem to be invested. And well, I wish the best to both of these teams.
So we have Team 3 as well, just to not have our own personal biases in this case. We have Laney and Moonshield. Moonshield's also a old-time pro. He's been around for a very long time. European player. He's very good. He's one of those people that is just sneaky good because he's kind of quiet. He kind of just hangs in the background. And all of a sudden you start playing him and then you go, oh my God, this guy is incredible. Like, he's really good. Like, I got to really step up my game to play him. And he's also partnered with Laney, who came in second place in the 1v1 tournament. Also he's the host of this tournament as well. Yes, so this is a very dangerous team. This is a team that you do need to keep an eye on because there's just so much potential here. It's incredible to see where they're going to go. Hopefully not throwing in grand finals, though.
I'd never. Going on, 4th team of Group D is Ormula and Cerns. And speaking about really good players, you have to name Cerns, or going by his old name, Vernie Tiger. In my opinion, probably right at this moment the best 2v2 player that is active. What he has above other really good players right now is that he has played a lot in the recent weeks. So he's really found his groove, and Ormula as well is a player with a really high skill ceiling. He's prone to do mistakes sometimes, but the potential is incredible of this team. This could really be like it's not the dark horse, but maybe it's a gray horse. Maybe some people will underestimate them, and then they can take it all the way.
The lighter version of a dark horse. I can agree with that. I mean, if you get a mistake-free game from Ormy, I mean, you really are in trouble because that's a really tough game to play. But it has to be mistake-free, and those are like 4-leaf clovers. They pop out of the ground in the areas you least expect them to.
All right, now these are the brackets. We have 4 groups of 4 players. The first 2 of each of these groups will advance to the major playoffs, and 3rd and 4th place will go to the minor playoffs. Now, back to the other thing. We've talked about the brackets. There is not much more to say than good luck and have fun to all the participants. We hope you have fun. We hope you stay in the competitive scene, because these are the matches that really have that little special extra compared to your regular laid-back, friendly matches that you do. There's just so much more going on if the stakes are high, and that's just really fun. And we hope we can provide for fun moments and fun matches to all the teams. If you lose, take it as a learning experience. Watch the stream if you lose, if you lost, because the commentators will always try to pinpoint out what kind of things you could have done differently to help you out in improving, getting better. And I mean, the last thing for me to say is see you in game.
Yes, everyone, we're looking forward to the results of the tournament that we will play out for the next couple of months. We wish everyone, again, good luck, have fun, and may the force be with you.